I found these 2-socket bayonets on an auction site for very cheap. They're US Indian War era bayonets. I believe this one is for a Trapdoor Springfield, and this one is for a Remington Rolling Block. I picked these up in the hopes that one of them would fit on the end of my Remington Lee 1879 here. As you can see, they're not in the best condition. The Trapdoor bayonet is better than the Rolling Block, but both are dirty and rusty. This one is missing the screw for the locking ring. Actually, the end of it is broken off. As far as markings go, the Trapdoor bayonet is marked with US near the base of the blade. The Rolling Block bayonet isn't marked, at least I can't tell if it is. But before I inspect these any further, I'm going to convert the rust to bluing. I'll start by degreasing with brake cleaner. Then I'll get them outside, where on a turkey burner I have water boiling. I'll add the bayonets to this steam tube. And set it on top of the pot. The steam from the boiling water will fill the tube, converting the rust to bluing. I'll let this go for about a half hour. Here's the bayonets after boiling. The blade of the Trapdoor bayonet is very smooth. This one will convert nicely. The Rolling Block bayonet in the middle is still very rusty though. And same with the end of the scabbard. The rust here looks like loose flakes. To remove any loose rust, I have this carding wheel. The wires are soft, like steel wool. They won't damage the metal or scratch its finish. Here's the bayonets after carding. The loose rust has been removed. The Rolling Block bayonet, now on top, looks better than before. However, it still has an uneven appearance. The Trapdoor bayonet looks good though. I'll get it oiled, then set it aside. It's scabbard. Most of it looks good. However, the end is rough. This part was at one time covered by a leather hanger, which is how it got to look like this. The leather likely retained moisture, creating an environment to produce heavy rust, which is now flaking off. To remove this, I have a copper penny, which is softer than the steel of the scabbard. I'll use it to scrub off the rust. Though the penny removed all of the loose rust, the underlying steel of the scabbard has a very rough surface. More concerning, though, is the color of the metal. Even after wiping with an oily rag, it's reddish brown. The rolling block bayonet also has a lot of areas of reddish brown along the blade, then back towards the socket. Sometimes when the rust is thick, boiling doesn't fully convert the rust. It will only affect the top layer. Then carding will remove that loosened top layer, or in the case of the more stubborn areas, scraping will. That leaves the next layer down unconverted. This bayonet, along with the scabbard, will need to be boiled again. I think that's as good as I'm going to get them. The rust is gone, leaving an inconsistent patina behind. That's the two bayonets and scabbard converted. Now I can see which, if any, is the right fit on my Remington Lee. I'll start with the trapdoor bayonet. It's stuck at the front sight. The side post is too wide for the notch in the bayonet socket. I'll try the rolling block bayonet next. This one slides right on. The front sight isn't an issue. I'll just move around the loose locking ring so that it's not preventing the bayonet from going on all the way. But it's stuck here. It still has another 3/4 of an inch or so to go. This time though, the sight base isn't the issue. I think I know what is. I'll remove it and set it aside. And move the rifle. With the bayonet only able to slide down on the end of the barrel to about here. I think that's due to the inside of the socket not being round. Right here. This is what's preventing it from sliding on all the way. I had noticed a sizable dent on the outside of the socket. Its position corresponds to where the end of the barrel was, which is why it wasn't sliding on any further than it was. When it comes to removing the dent, I have two options, but only one makes sense. The end of the barrel is tapered, larger where the rear of the socket would be, and around 15 thousandths smaller at the muzzle. That doesn't seem like too much. However, the bayonet socket has the same, or very similar taper inside of it. My first thought was to force a piece of steel about the same size as the barrel through the socket, in order to press out the dent, but that would make it the same diameter throughout, and thus the bayonet would be a loose fit on the barrel. So my only choice is to grind out the inside of the dent. I'll use this Dremel with a sanding drum. The depth of the dent isn't great enough that I don't run the risk of grinding through it and creating a hole. I'll still stop and check often, so that it's a good snug fit on the end of the rifle. The bayonet is fitting on all the way now. It's tight against the front sight post, and there's no play in the socket itself. However, the lock ring is very loose, since it's been out of round. To fix that, I'll remove the bayonet and get it in the vise. It's tough to tell from this angle, but I think that the left side of the locking ring is fine. It's this other side that's out of alignment. What I'll do is hold the good side tight against the socket, then work the other side inwards until it's tighter. I'll just get this broken screw out of the way first. Then I can form the lock ring back into a circle around the socket. Even without the screw, the lock ring is a much better fit on the socket. But in order for the bayonet to properly lock onto the rifle, I need a screw. I measured the old stub, and it's approximately a number 10 screw, but with 26 threads per inch, an oddball size. I could make one, but it turns out that the trapdoor bayonet screw is the exact same size. I'll steal it from there for now, and dial it in so that the lock ring is snug. These bayonets turned out fine. Just fine, but that's what you get with old parts. The trapdoor bayonet looks good, but the Remington bayonet's finish isn't the best. Same with the end of the scabbard, which could be fit onto either blade. At least there's no more rust. Swapping lock ring screws is fine, since I don't have a rifle to mount the trapdoor bayonet onto, at least not yet. I've been casually looking for a Model 1873 for a while now, but haven't found the right deal. I've come to like socket bayonets, which are often skipped over by collectors, likely because they're harder to identify. They're a bit anachronistic in this era of cartridge loading rifles. Most of Europe had adopted sword or knife bayonets by this time. This one looks great on the end of my Remington Lee. More to come on the rifle itself in future videos. Thanks for watching.